στόχους των Ηνωμένων Πολιτειών, δηλώνοντας εντυπωσιασμένοι από το εύρος της συνεργασίας μεταξύ Ουάσιγκτον και Λευκωσίας τόσο πριν όσο και μετά τη δημοσιοποίηση της επίμαχης λίστας. Χαρακτηρίζει ταυτόχρονα προνοητικό και ξεκάθαρο τον πρόεδρο Χριστοδουλίδη και σημειώνει ότι θα συνεχιστεί η στενή συνεργασία όχι μόνο με την κυπριακή κυβέρνηση αλλά και με λογιστές και δικηγόρους στην Κύπρο.
So, Ms. Fisher, thank you very much for the opportunity and the interview we're having. Is the American government satisfied with the cooperation of the Cypriot authorities and their response after the publication of the sanctions list? Have all the necessary primary measures been taken here in Cyprus?
Thank you so very much for this opportunity. It's really a pleasure to have a chance to sit down and to talk not just about the specifics of the response of the government here, but really what it is that we in the United States are doing with our sanctions policies. And I think that's maybe the right place to start. And so our sanctions are aimed at bringing about a change in behavior. Our sanctions are designed to target those whose efforts are undermining the peace, stability, the security of the United States, of our partners, our allies, and ultimately to bring about a change in Russia's behavior as it prosecutes this unjustified, unprovoked war against Ukraine. So what we announced on April 12th last week was a set of designations, sanctions against 15 people and 18 entities in Cyprus. But that's not the full story of what we announced on April 12th. In fact, we had more than 120 people and entities in 20 different countries that were targeted. Specifically, we were going after the assets of a specific billionaire, a specific Russian billionaire, and 2 companies that are known to facilitate the use of children in war and whose efforts are designed to impact the thinking of children as they approach this war, which we see as just particularly nefarious in Russia's prosecution here. So we have worked incredibly closely. We work closely with our partners in the G7. We work closely with our British counterparts, with our counterparts in the European Union, and of course bilaterally with the Republic of Cyprus to design our target packages, to ensure their effectiveness, to close the loopholes that those who are trying to evade sanctions use. So we have a very robust conversation at all of these various levels to ensure the solidarity of the West and to ensure that we bring about that change we are seeking ultimately to end this war.
Should we expect an expansion of the sanctions list, including more physical and legal entities from Cyprus here?
You know, what we see is the effectiveness of the sanctions. What we see in the United States is that the sanctions are taking an effect. The collective work, again, of all of those partners, G7, the European Union, the United Kingdom and others, this collective action has had a real impact on the ready cash that Russia has available. It has had a real impact on the oil revenues that Russia is bringing in. And ultimately what that means is that there are fewer guns, tanks, and missiles available to Russia to prosecute this war. So we will continue to look for those tools that are going to impact Russia's ability to wage that war. So you can expect that will continue as long as the war continues.
When should we expect the American authorities to provide more details and evidence to Cyprus so the Law Office of the Republic of Cyprus here can evaluate them and proceed with legal measures if needed? Is judicial assistance necessary for such a procedure?
You know, I've been in Cyprus really only a short time so far. It's about 2 months that I've been here. And one of the things that has really struck me is just the breadth of the coordination, the cooperation that we have between our governments, between Washington and Nicosia. And we have an incredibly broad range of channels at work every single day, and we are working together to counter transnational threats. We are working together to counter trafficking in persons, to train border security officials to combat threats like proliferation. So we're going to continue that very broad-ranging cooperation in a variety of different law enforcement and security channels to the benefit of both the United States and the Republic of Cyprus.
Will the American government help, like technocratically or technologically, the Cypriot authorities for the implementation of the sanctions to Cypriot service providers of Russian oligarchs?
Again, I will come back to the point, which is that we have such a broad conversation going on between our officials in a wide variety of positions and from a variety of perspectives. We're going to keep doing all of those things that help ensure that the sanctions have the effect that's intended, to bring about that change of behavior, to help, at the end of the day, to save lives in Ukraine and to help Ukraine as it fights off this invasion, to ensure that Ukraine exists when this is over. So the tools that we'll use, we'll keep having a conversation with the government here. I think President Christodoulides has been very forward-leaning. He has been very clear in his response. He has expressed, I think, explicitly his concern about the potential damage to Cyprus's reputation that these kind of actors are having. And so we will work with the government. We will work with those professional organizations, the accounting organizations, the lawyers groups, to do everything we can to both explain the sanctions and the targets that we have, and to think about the impact that that has on Cyprus.
And last question. The American economy is the biggest on the planet, Ms. Fisher. Are the same sanctions that are being imposed on entities connected with Russian oligarchs in other countries applied for USA as well?
Thank you. I think that is a particularly important question, and one that I really welcome the chance to address, because first and foremost, U.S. sanctions are about U.S. persons and assets in the United States, first and foremost. And so the Department of Justice, our Deputy Attorney General, just testified to the Senate this week that we have prosecuted more than 30 people since this war began, that we have helped to facilitate arrests in half a dozen countries around the world. First and foremost, we start with enforcement of sanctions at home. And then, because these sanctions, because the effect and the power of these sanctions is based in the fact that we do this together, that we do it together with so many partners and allies who share our views about this war. We coordinate across those law enforcement channels, across banking channels, across ministries of finance, the Treasury Department. All of that work is what makes these sanctions effective, and that's what we're going to keep doing.
Thank you very much, Ms. Fisher.
Thank you.